What's going on? Luke with USA Carry here, and today is the first video in a series we are doing. I'm here with Greg Lapin on, what are we calling this? EEDC?
Yeah, enhanced everyday carry.
This is going to be focusing on carrying a AR pistol, in particular the MCX Rattler, which is what we're going to be featuring in these videos, and yeah, that's what we're going over today. This video is sponsored by Unity Tactical, makers of the clutch belt and the fast micro mount, both of which you'll see here featured in this video. Visit them at unitytactical.com today.
Yeah, guys, so welcome to the first in a series of videos that we're going to do on a bigger loadout for everyday carry. Given what's going on today in the US and our current climate in some of the cities, some of the attacks that we are seeing against people who get lost and drive down the wrong road into a protest, highways are being shut down. I've changed my everyday loadout that I go out with so that I can either get home to my family if they are not with me, or obviously if they are with me to better protect my family. And we're gonna go through why we picked what we picked, companies we went with, the equipment, the models, etc. that we went with, and that's kind of the first part of the series. So let's start at the foundation. The foundation, what a lot of people call first line, is the stuff that you never ever leave your house without. And my normal everyday carry is this. It's a Glock 42 with a 3-round 42, 43. Yeah, same difference, you know. You know what I mean.
9mm.
It's a 9mm. Yes, my apologies. And then a spare mag with a 3-round magazine base plate and a NeoMag magazine clip. That's kind of my everyday. I throw it in my board shorts, my gi pants when I'm wearing my gi pants right to the gym.
People are going to ask, what holster is that?
That is the Incog.
I'll put links to everything we're talking about in the description, so if you have any questions.
So that's my first line. That's my everyday carry. That's what I go out with. Yes, in my truck, I have some medical gear, yada, yada. But now we are seeing mob mentality. If you've never been caught in an angry mob, it is one of the most terrifying things you'll ever be involved in. I've had the pleasure of being in a couple of mobs overseas, and it's not fun and it's very frightening. So I've increased my first line to now I'm going out of the house with my Glock 19 with a spare mag with a +5 round extender, and I am typically wearing it in my clutch belt from Unity Tactical. The clutch belt is a belly band style carrying platform. You notice I have my Glock 19, I have a spare magazine for it, and then I also have a spare magazine for what we're gonna get into, the Rattler. On the back side, I also have some medical gear and a rat's tourniquet stuffed into the pouches. But it's very concealable, and what I like about this is if you don't want it on all the time, right? You can still carry, I can still carry my 43 inside the waistband, IWB, and I can roll this up and keep this in the vehicle with just like a rubber band around it, a hair tie, right? And then when I need to, I can literally just pull it out, undo the Velcro, and throw it around my waist if I need to, which you'll see in further videos. But it's a very comfortable, it's a very stable, secure, and a very versatile option. You can fit whatever you want in those pouches based on the pistol you're carrying, the rifle or rifle caliber pistol you're carrying, so on and so forth. No loadout's complete without a pokey thing, all right? So this is my everyday carry fixed blade. It is the Colonel blade. I believe now they're being produced and sold by Bravo Company.
I believe so.
But it is an excellent fixed blade knife, and you do not need to be an expert in Eskrima or Sayak Kali to learn how to use this effectively.
Now, will you carry that in here as well, or no?
I actually carry this in my waistband of my regular belt pants underneath the clutch. That leads us to the Holy Grail, right? The Holy Grail. This is the Rattler from SIG Sauer. The reason we chose this pistol, I found in my experience in using a lot of these different pistols with the folding or collapsible braces, chambered in both pistol caliber and rifle caliber, that the SIG Rattler was the shortest, most compact and here's the important part, the most reliable option out there. All right, I first came in contact with the Rattler, maybe 5 years ago at SHOT Show when they had them on demo. And I was very impressed there, and they've just refined them and enhanced them since then. So we went with the collapsing stock versus the folding stock to reduce the overall length. Yes, it makes it a little bit wider when it's in a bag, but I'm not worried about the width. We are carrying these in a shoulder bag or a bike messenger bag. And I'm not worried about the depth, the width of it, but I am worried about the length of it. And if you go with the collapsing stock, you add about another 2 to 3 inches on the collapsing brace or stock, if you will. Whereas the folding stock or brace, whether you actually have a tack stamp for a short-barreled rifle or you're using a pistol brace style, cuts down the overall length, makes it a little bit wider, no big deal, but it's super easy to employ by just grabbing and literally flipping the brace out, and now you're ready to go. We mounted the SIG Romeo optic on top of a Unity Tactical fast mount, which is a high-rise mount. It's just a little bit more comfortable, faster cheek weld. You don't have to hunker your head down onto the stock portion of the gun to get good sight picture with it. And we'll talk about that more in depth when we're actually out on the range shooting this bad boy. And then sling. Sling's very important. I'm a big fan of 2-point adjustable slings. Most of my carbines rifles have, well, all of my carbines rifles have the VTAC 2-point sling from Viking Tactics. But on this, we went with something that was a little bit more streamlined, a little bit smaller, a little bit less material, from a buddy of mine, former Ranger Battalion guy, Tom Fuller, out of Armageddon gear, made in the US. Really, really high quality equipment and gear, and it is his 2-point bungee sling. And then we have it secured to the brace arm here with a little strap from NeoMag itself. It's a magnetic strap. You coil up the sling, put it in there, and it keeps it all secured. So you can deploy this pistol without pulling the sling out yet, and without having to worry about the sling getting hung or caught on anything, and I can still run the gun and shoulder the gun, and then if I need it, I literally just pull the sling out, and then I'm set, ready to go.
That is the Sentry Strap from NeoMag.
The Sentry Strap.
Yeah,
so
link in the description.
That's kind of the reason we chose what we chose. Again, the sling, it's very, very streamlined, very lightweight, not a lot of material. Where the Viking Tactics sling has a little bit more adjustment, a little bit more material, especially if you get the padded one, which I like. But like I said, all my rifles, all my carbines have that, but the mission drives the gear. So let's talk about that. Am I loaded out to go run down and join a protest? No. I'm staying as far away from all that junk. But I had to go into the city the other day to see the in-laws with my family. Well, guess what? I'm not running into, all of a sudden, a mob closing down the highway with my wife and my 2 little kids. And should someone, you've seen some of the videos on the highway, people taking hammers and stuff and smashing in back windows of cars. You come up to my car with my kids in it to do that, I'm gonna shoot you, plain and simple. And I wanna make sure that I have enough of a loadout to handle the situation at hand. And this is a good start. Let's go as close in out, right? Colonel Blade, stabby thing. It's good to have. Now we go into pistol, spare mag. Then we get into our rifle or our AR pistol with a spare mag. And then we have some medical gear should we need to patch ourselves up or fix ourselves. And that kind of gets us through the majority of what we would need to get out of a situation or get through a situation. And that's ultimately why we chose what we chose. Again, you'll hear me talk. My primary concern with anything that we pick is reliability.
Right.
It's gotta work 100% of the time. It's gotta work. There's no option for any of this stuff not to work. So that's what drives us to choose the pistols we choose, to choose the magazines we choose, the magazine base plates we choose, the way we carry with the clutch belt, the SIG Rattler that we use, the mounts, the slings, etc. They are all combat tested, proven, and highly, highly reliable.
Do you want to touch on why we picked 300 Blackout?
Yeah, we can touch on caliber. So I wanted a rifle round. I wanted a bigger rifle round. I didn't want to go with a sub gun with a 9mm. I'm already carrying a 9mm and a pistol, right? If I'm gonna carry something bulkier like an AR pistol or a short-barreled rifle, I want something that I know is very easily or more easily gonna punch through barriers, vehicles, walls, doors, etc. Drop someone with one hit pretty much. Pistol bullets, pistol rounds, even though they've come a long, long way, and I don't want to even get into the debate of 9mm versus 45 because it's a bullshit debate, but pistol rounds are not very good at stopping a threat immediately. And it can take 3, 4, 5, 8 rounds to really put someone down now so they cannot hurt you anymore. Rifle rounds, 300 blackout, bang, 1 round, they're usually out of the fight completely. So now if we're talking about, 20 round mags for my pistol and I'm shooting 3 to 5 per person, it doesn't get me very far. Where now I've got a 30 round mag and a spare for the Rattler and 300 blackout. And if I'm getting a decent hit, 1 round, maybe 2 rounds on someone, and they're not a threat to me anymore. Plus, it's got the enhanced capability to punch through barriers, which is why we went with the 300 blackout. They make very short-barreled AR pistols in 5.56. Problem is, as soon as you drop down below a 10.5-inch barrel in 5.56, you massively, massively kill your muzzle velocity and the effectiveness of the 5.56 round, which is not the case with 300 blackout. It was designed around a short barrel. So we're gonna be taking this stuff out on the range. We're gonna be putting it through its paces. We're gonna do some other tutorials utilizing this stuff in an urban environment, and hopefully you guys will enjoy it.
If you want to see more, stay tuned. We're gonna be dropping these videos probably at least once a week after this, so I'm ready to go shoot. Cool. Later.